Constructions are completed through the perception of closed environments. Each environment may be considered a body or unit, defined by its contour. Movement makes any body dynamic and gives it life. No body viewed as a unit remains motionless, inactive, or static, unless it is relativized, and its movements are conceptualized and compared. Beyond that, everything that can be identified is always in motion. If life could be summarized in a single word, it would be movement. And, since everything is always in motion, it is possible to affirm that life is eternal in its transforming movement. Death is reduced to the transformation of individualities. Every individuality is only individuality because of contour and its relationship with others, provided that it is perceived as such by everything that composes each individualized environment. Each individuality moves through forces that appear to be its own, but these forces are not individual, for they are unique and universal. They have a single origin and obey a single purpose, defined within the origin itself, making it impossible to redefine or modify them. That which appears individual will never truly be individual. Bodies and closed environments merely reveal the relativity that defines appearances, and these give life to perceptions. Here lies the difficult paradox of whether perception defines environments, or whether environments define perception. In other words, do environments exist because they are perceived, or does perception exist because of the individuation and stimulus that arise from the appearance of environments? One then arrives at the conclusion that perception functions through the existence of bodies and closed environments. Without this model of existence could not be perceived, understood, or temporalized. What defines existence is the duration of permanence before the transformation of each thing, according to the equally temporary perception of each thing. It may therefore be said that nothing exists, and that everything is eternal. This is the possibility of the existence of nothingness, before the impossibility of emptiness. In this model, if emptiness is impossible and transformation is eternal, there always remains the nothingness that endures. Once again, perception returns as the necessary means of understanding. It is easy to perceive that it is not limited to the identification of what is around. That is merely the smallest simplification of perceptive states. The being possesses, within expanded perception, the exit door to understanding. Only this entrance enables it, and grants it freedom. Whenever one thinks about freedom, it is necessary to identify that which imprisons. Even with limited perception and simplified logic, it is understandable that concepts imprison the being within life. And life itself, even when misunderstood, is conceptualized as the greatest of wonders. Emotion and sensitivity are deposited into gratitude for what is understood and accepted as life. The being has enormous difficulty understanding that it is itself that which limits and imprisons it. Approaches to truth disturb it and lead it to create artificial mechanisms of escape. Through them, it creates supernatural visions and sounds of apparent self-knowledge, sharing them as individual experiences, in order to gather followers through persuasion. Thus, perception is artificially expanded, and the being is pushed into a deeper well, reducing its perception to the limit of losing sanity. Within incomprehensible manifestation, there is a path that leads the being to this door. The one who wrote, "Knock and it shall be opened unto you," was speaking of this door, and was correct. Therefore, the being prepares itself for a single hearing, within a cacophonous universe. This unique sound of the real universe comes from the being itself, when it takes possession of its own perception, which does not exist without it. A perception that reveals it without contour, and, therefore, without identification. This is pure alchemy.